Tonight, we reopen a file Hollywood tried to burn, an era when A-list charisma masked secret initiations, coded chants, and binding contracts written in faith and fear. Industry's brightest stars surrendered fortunes, and sometimes freedom, to closed-door orders promising cosmic power. This is the forgotten scandal of celebrity cults, a tale of spiritual hunger weaponized for profit, reputations bartered for revelation. Buckle in. Selling a ticket is easy. Selling your soul can be easier still. Tom Cruise. At the very pinnacle of blockbuster fame, Tom Cruise found in Scientology what the studio system could not guarantee: absolute conviction that he was destined to change the world. Recruited in the mid-1980s through first wife Mimi Rogers, Cruise embraced the church's auditing regimen as if it were a second film school, reportedly logging thousands of hours to achieve OT3 status, the level that promises liberation from mental engrams. The discipline synced perfectly with his competitive drive, allowing him to frame every box office weekend as empirical proof that the tech works.
Tolerance can lead to discrimination, and that discrimination very easily breeds persecution.
Scientology courted his influence just as aggressively, converting a Los Angeles airfield into a private flight school and tailoring humanitarian missions that cast him as a real-life Ethan Hunt. The strategy paid off. Each global premiere became a recruiting carnival, and Cruise's personal staff, drawn largely from Sea Org ranks, applauded his victories as shared spiritual triumphs. By the time he accepted a mission, impossible stunt as routine as breathing, the church showcased him as living evidence that faith, properly monetized, can outshine any Oscar. John Travolta. When Saturday Night Fever crowned John Travolta king of the dance floor, he was privately unraveling after the death of girlfriend Diana Hyland. A friend handed him Dianetics. The book felt like a lifeline, promising that grief and self-doubt could be cleared through structured confession. By 1983, Travolta had donated millions, receiving an inner circle welcome, private auditing rooms, pilots on call, crisis managers who silenced hostile tabloids. Years later, during his late 80s slump, Scientology's leadership launched Project Comeback, financing acting coaches and steering him toward the script that became pulp fiction. Internal dispatches framed his renaissance as living marketing copy, proof that auditing resurrects stalled careers.
What I asked permission to say is, could I just say I shot Marvin in the face?
Critics claim the church's possession of intimate session tapes served as unspoken leverage, a charge Travolta denies. From his perspective, the trade-off was simple: a belief system that reframed every flop as a temporary flatline on the tone scale. In return, he became perhaps the movement's most durable billboard, demonstrating that in Hollywood, salvation can arrive with a glossy headshot attached. Kirstie Alley. Before Cheers made her America's wisecracking barmaid, Kirstie Alley was battling cocaine addiction and contending with the loneliness of early fame. Desperate for structure, she joined a free Scientology seminar in Wichita and emerged convinced she had located life's operating manual. Within months, she credited auditing for quitting drugs cold turkey and soon funneled millions into courses that vaulted her to OT8, the church's exalted summit. Scientology reciprocated during her public battles with weight. Discreet assist teams shadowed her film sets.
When I moved to Hollywood, I was going to marry John Travolta, and I'm sure I'm the only woman in the world that felt that way.
Offering hourly counseling and framing each setback as a solvable counter-intention. Sea Org members staffed her organic farm at sub-minimum stipends, while church-certified nutritionists co-branded her weight loss venture. Until her death in 2022, Alley defended the faith with ferocity, claiming she traded dollars for a community that never let her walk alone. Her legacy shows how personal vulnerability becomes institutional capital, turning one woman's fight for self-esteem into a multi-million-dollar testimonial. Elisabeth Moss. On The Handmaid's Tale, she battles theocracy, yet off-screen Elisabeth Moss is Scientology's most enigmatic standard-bearer. Born to musician parents immersed in the church, she absorbed Hubbard's study tech before her first audition. The doctrine's regimented lexicon gave her career a blueprint. Goals became conditions formulas, setbacks became withholds to be audited away. At the 2017 Emmys, reporters questioned whether her dystopian saga clashed with the church's secrecy. Moss answered with a polished quote about communication, reportedly rehearsed with media trainers at Celebrity Center.
It doesn't seem like it's important that someone has a private jet, but it is.
Very important.
As you get older.
Members circulated an internal bulletin hailing her win as statistical proof that Scientology breeds excellence. Perks reinforced the loyalty: private power processing suites at Flag Base, Sea Org assistants who guard her downtime, and a worldview that recasts every trophy as cosmic confirmation. For audiences thrilled by June Osborne's rebellion, the irony is cinematic. For Moss, the faith is a silent co-producer, shaping each standing ovation into spiritual data. Laura Prepon. While Orange is the New Black rebranded Laura Prepon as a rebel, her real-life transformation unfolded behind the security desks of Scientology's Celebrity Center.
Oddly, not at all. It wasn't weird at all. It just was like the nostalgia of it. You don't realize.
Introduced by castmate Danny Masterson during that 70s show, Prepon dove into daily auditing and the grueling purification rundown, told it would sharpen both focus and spinal health. Church mentors framed every professional hurdle as a counter-intention removable through confession, guidance she credited when OITNB rocketed to cultural phenomenon. Less publicized were material perks: discounted housing in Scientologist-owned complexes, Sea Org nannies during press tours, invitation-only gala seats that doubled as networking gold. By 2016, she had completed OT4, convinced the program kept her ego in check. Motherhood and months of pandemic isolation finally prompted her exit in 2021, but the decade inside still illustrates Scientology's pitch, a production Bible for the soul, with mentors who applaud every audition and frame each booking as proof that spiritual technology sells. In an industry built on perpetual rejection, that engineered optimism can grip tighter than any contract. Allison Mack. For much of the 2000s, Allison Mack lived a double life, acclaimed as Smallville's brainy sidekick by day, disciple of Keith Raniere's NXIVM by night. Drawn in at a 2006 executive success seminar, she believed the group's data-driven jargon, limiting beliefs, integration tech, could accelerate both career and self-esteem. Raniere courted her ambitions, assigning her to head The Source, an acting-focused subgroup promising elite audition psychology. Hidden memos later unsealed in court show Mack funneled at least $200,000 of fees from fellow performers upward while drafting scripts for ceremonial collateral meant to ensure secrecy.
Well, she started out a freshman in high school who was madly in love with controversy and drama.
Why commit so fully? Prosecutors uncovered journal entries where she equated ranking up NXIVM's colored sashes with winning an Emmy. Both, she wrote, proved she earned the right to be seen. The payoff evaporated in 2018 when federal agents raided NXIVM's Albany compound. She pleaded guilty to racketeering, admitting the system she helped build weaponized devotion into forced labor. Mack's saga exposes how a quest for professional mastery can end in branded flesh and prison bars, Hollywood craftspeak repurposed as cult obedience. Rose McGowan. Before charmed fame, Rose McGowan's earliest memories stem from La Commune, the Italian arm of Children of God. Born into the sect in 1973, she recalls communal sharing nights and mandatory street proselytizing at age 6. Her father, an artist running the cult's European publishing press, fled with his children after leadership urged sexual outreach to potential converts, a line he refused to cross. Years later, McGowan described that escape as her first act of defiance, molding a persona drawn to radical honesty.
What happened?
My life changed. I thought my life was getting easier.
Hollywood, she says, felt familiar, a closed ecosystem with powerful gatekeepers and unspoken rules. The cult's trauma also primed her for activism. When the Weinstein scandal erupted, she recognized the same spiritual blackmail tactics, silencing victims through shame and threat. By reframing private anguish into public advocacy, McGowan turned cult survival into a megaphone against industry abuse, proving that a childhood hijacked by doctrine can forge an adult unafraid of burning the house down. Joaquin Phoenix. Joaquin Phoenix's on-screen intensity traces back to a nomadic infancy under Children of God missionaries. Born in Puerto Rico during his parents' evangelical trek, he spent early childhood singing for alms outside Caracas hotels, a practice the sect dubbed litnessing. By 1978, leadership scandals promoting adult-child sexuality horrified the Phoenix parents, who fled Florida with 5 children and nothing but a station wagon and new surname.
Well, is it comfortable? Is it itchy? Are you pleased with it?
Joaquin later told 60 Minutes the experience hardened his distrust of organized belief, yet fueled an obsession with authenticity. Every role, he says, is an antidote to years spent rehearsing cult propaganda. Veganism, stringent privacy, and sudden career sabbaticals are likewise guardrails against collective control. His Oscar-winning Joker press speech thanked his mother for escaping an oppressive situation, subtly indicting systems that trade innocence for ideology. Phoenix's cult departure didn't just rescue a family. It gifted cinema an actor who mines darkness with surgical precision because he once lived inside a manufactured light. Beck. Grammy-winning shapeshifter Beck Hansen rarely grants interviews, but Scientology fingerprints his biography from birth. Father David Campbell joined the church in the 1960s. Mother Bibby Hansen worked art projects at Celebrity Center, and Beck absorbed L. Ron Hubbard's study tech alongside guitar chords. For decades, he sidestepped the label, calling his beliefs multifaceted, yet tax filings show 7-figure donations, and insiders confirm he completed the purification rundown, a regimen of niacin, treadmills, and sauna marathons claimed to purge radiation.
Something very specific in mind I was trying to get to, and I think anybody...
Why stay? Friends cite the church's unparalleled studio network, engineers, rehearsal spaces, even tour logistics staffed by fellow parishioners, allowing Beck to pivot from folk to funk without label meddling. The divorce from actress Marie Presley in 2019 coincided with his quiet exit. Sources close say he no longer attends services, concluding personal growth required untangling from any strict doctrine. Still, his trajectory illustrates Scientology's seductive pitch to artists: limitless creative support for as long as you accept cosmology as copyright. Juliette Lewis. When Oscar nominee Juliette Lewis hit a cocaine wall at 26, rehabs felt cliched, but a Scientology detox program promised spiritual as well as chemical cleansing. She entered the church's Hollywood Celebrity Center in 1996 and, within a year, credited the Narconon protocol for rescuing both sobriety and self-worth. The religion's auditing drills doubled as acting exercises, dissecting emotional blocks scene by scene, a synergy Lewis called rocket fuel for truth. Church strategists leveraged her rock band tours, arranging meet and greets where fans received free personality tests alongside VIP passes. In return, Lewis fronted anti-psychiatry rallies and narrated Hubbard audiobooks, framing dissent as punk rebellion. Critics accused the church of exploiting her relapse anxieties. She counters that mainstream recovery traded one dependency for another, whereas auditing handed her the steering wheel. Whether endorsement or entanglement, Lewis's chapter spotlights how cultic systems adapt their sales pitch. To addicts they sell purity, to performers they sell raw nerve, and sometimes the two are the same currency. Danny Masterson. Long before headlines paired Danny Masterson's name with felony convictions, the That 70s Show star was Hollywood's most outspoken second-generation Scientologist. Born into the faith, he viewed auditing not as therapy, but as hygiene, an hourly polish for competitive edge. Studio contracts granted him Saturday study tech windows. Producers tolerated the schedule, believing it kept their scene stealer razor sharp. In return, Masterson acted as internal talent scout, ushering castmates like Laura Prepon into introductory courses and leveraging his celebrity to lure skaters, DJs, and fledgling actors to Celebrity Center galas. The church reciprocated with perks: Sea Org chauffeurs, compound housing during location shoots, and legal liaison teams poised to defuse bad press. Why cling so fiercely? Insiders say Scientology's ethics files promised a fortress of loyalty. Masterson believed the organization's crisis management machinery could protect both privacy and career. When criminal charges erupted in 2017, that machinery went to war, funding defense counsel and fielding affidavits asserting conspiracies. The courtroom ending is public record, but the backstory reveals how star power and institutional armor can entwine until neither survives the other's collapse. Jason Lee. Skateboard icon turned sitcom darling, Jason Lee first crossed Scientology's path in 1991 through a fellow pro skater evangelizing Hubbard's self-analysis drills. What began as curiosity, could auditing sharpen athletic focus, blossomed into full immersion once My Name is Earl launched him into 8-figure paydays. Lee invested millions in bridge services, attributing his shift from cult indie films to mainstream comedy to clearing mental baggage. The church, spotting a crossover ambassador, produced skate camps staffed by Sea Org volunteers and co-hosted charity events where Lee's 360 kickflips doubled as faith demonstrations. Marriage to photographer Carmen Llewellyn fractured under escalating sect checks, demanding she match his zeal. Their 2001 divorce file cites spiritual pressure as a wedge.
Bad news, guys. It looks like we're getting canceled. Wow. So, clean out your lockers.
By 2016, creative stagnation and Oklahoma small-town life nudged Lee to resign membership publicly. No exposés, just a statement that his personal beliefs had evolved. Hidden fact, exit required a confidential disconnection handling cycle, sparing him from formal excommunication, but costing years-long friendships. His arc underscores the price tag of ideological pivot in an industry where belief can double as branding. Michelle Pfeiffer. Few fans link Michelle Pfeiffer's ethereal screen presence to a youthful stint inside an ultra-restrictive breatharian offshoot called The Metaphysics of Health. At 20, struggling through acting classes in Los Angeles, she and then-boyfriend Peter Horton befriended a married couple who preached salvation via life force absorption, minimal food, marathon breathwork, cleansing fasts. Initiates surrendered up to 70% of income for lessons on pranic living, an arrangement Pfeiffer now labels exploitative. Why stay? According to her 2013 Sunday Times interview, the promise of perfect health and career clarity felt scientific, not mystical. The hidden toll showed on the scale, dramatic weight loss disguised as dedication. Horton's role in the 1982 cult film Split Image, centering on deprogramming, finally jolted the pair into recognizing parallels and walking away. Pfeiffer later credited the episode with honing her radar for manipulation, shaping a career ruled by tight contracts and absolute script control.
It's decades. It's decades of the same people who have my back.
The breatharian chapter remains a cautionary footnote. Hollywood's obsession with appearance can make extreme dogma look like disciplined lifestyle branding, until the mirror tells a harsher story. Glenn Close. Before Fatal Attraction fame, Glenn Close spent her formative years enmeshed in moral rearmament, a high-control movement blending evangelical zeal with corporate team-building theatrics. Her father joined in 1954, moving the family to Swiss communal headquarters, where children surrendered personal belongings and rehearsed musical reviews extolling absolute purity. Close, a gifted vocalist, toured college campuses for the cause, performances doubling as recruitment drives. Why comply? Family allegiance and a doctrine equating dissent with moral cowardice left little room to question.
I also threw him out of my apartment in that movie.
Right.
But I ended up with him.
Yes.
Hidden fact, MRA leaders vetted romantic relationships, stalling Close's first serious courtship until her early 20s, a delay she later linked to the emotionally volcanic roles she gravitates toward. Leaving required scholarship to the College of William and Mary, where exposure to Stanislavski acting method reframed indoctrination as rehearsed character work, skills she could now weaponize on stage. Close's escape illustrates cult psychology's long half-life. A teenage surrender of autonomy evolves into an adult's laser-sharp scrutiny of power, fueling performances that radiate both vulnerability and threat. Lisa Marie Presley. Elvis's only child entered Scientology at 9, her mother Priscilla seeking stability after Graceland grief. The church became extended family, birthday parties at Celebrity Center, vocal lessons framed as communication drills, and a consultant assigned to shepherd Lisa Marie's recording ambitions.
maybe occasionally ask for help.
Yeah.
Which was the case with this record, too.
By the 1990s, she'd donated millions, convinced Hubbard's policies could insulate her from parasitic hangers-on, haunting rock royalty heirs. Hidden within that relationship were security files cataloging adolescent confessions, a safeguard she once praised as tough love that never leaks. Marriage to Michael Jackson drew unprecedented scrutiny. Scientology crisis teams monitored tabloids, reportedly advising on interview talking points to keep both brands untarnished. In 2014, disillusioned by internal financial demands and allegations of abuse in Sea Org ranks, Presley cut ties, an exit she compared to leaving an arranged marriage with the government. She has since funneled estate resources into independent philanthropy, stressing transparency as antidote to blind faith. Her Odyssey spotlights the uneasy marriage between inherited iconography and a church expert at leveraging lineage for legitimacy. Giovanni Ribisi. A chameleonic character actor on screen, Ribisi is unwaveringly consistent off it. Scientology is the family faith he never questioned. Raised in a household where L. Ron Hubbard's study tech sat next to classic screenplays, he achieved the state of clear before his breakout in Saving Private Ryan. Colleagues marvel that he foots every training bill himself, even when a single OT level can cost more than an indie film budget. What does he buy? Quiet leverage. Scientologist casting directors tip him to projects, and he earns commissions for each friend who signs up. In 2023, he fronted the church's digital restoration fund for Hubbard lectures, a 7-figure pledge that doubled his career insurance. So long as Ribisi headlines festival darlings, the faith can boast that the tech produces award-caliber art. Nancy Cartwright. Bart Simpson's voice is also one of the church's loudest patrons. Cartwright credits an introductory communication course for taming early career stage fright. 3 decades later, she had advanced to OT8, Scientology's summit, and written a $10 million check that earned her the title Patron Laureate. Inside Celebrity Center, her robocall fundraiser was legendary. She recorded Bart's catchphrases to invite fans to auditing seminars, boosting turnout by 40%. In return, she received bespoke animation grants that underwrote indie shorts and a private scoring stage booked at below-union rates. For Cartwright, the exchange is mathematical. She invests in a system that promises spiritual immortality and hands her a cartoon empire that never ages. Jenna Elfman. When Dharma and Greg ended, Elfman faced the sitcom star curse, typecasting and dwindling scripts. Scientology's upper-level ethics officers reframed the lull as a solvable, non-existence condition and designed a regimen of daily auditing plus volunteer outreach. She embraced it, co-hosting anti-drug concerts and opening a Scientology literacy center in Phnom Penh. The visibility kept her brand alive until AMC's Fear the Walking Dead reignited demand. Press outlets blame her quieter profile on cult entanglement. She counters that the faith taught her to filter offers and chase roles worth a lifetime. Whether shield or shackle, Elfman's devotion illustrates how a belief system can manage not just the actor's craft, but the marketability of her silence. Catherine Bell. The Jag and Good Witch star discovered Scientology while modeling in Japan. Its promise of absolute self-determinism resonated with a half-Persian Catholic, eager to rewrite her origin story. She raced up the bridge to Clear, then fronted the church's Hollywood Education and Literacy Project, filming PSAs that aired on U.S. military bases, cross-marketing at its finest. In 2006, Bell appeared in the controversial music video United, aligning her public image with a faith that demonizes psychiatry. In exchange, Scientology's volunteer ministers staffed her on-set daycare, and Sea Org architects supervised the eco-renovation of her Hidden Hills ranch. For Bell, the calculation is simple. The church bankrolls philanthropic visibility while certifying her as spiritually bulletproof. Isaac Hayes. Soul legend. Hayes joined Scientology in the early 1990s, seeking tools to escape both bankruptcy and lingering PTSD from civil rights violence. Auditing boosted his productivity. He claimed to write theme from Shaft-level riffs in a single sitting, and the church heralded him as proof that even Grammy winners can ascend higher. Trouble erupted when South Park lampooned Scientology, Hayes, the voice of Chef, resigned under what friends called intense ecclesiastical pressure. Co-creator Matt Stone later recalled Hayes pleading for the show to mute its satire or risk losing him. He left, and within a year suffered the stroke that ended his touring life. The saga spotlights the conflict between an artist's reverence for free speech and a doctrine that demands absolute public loyalty. Leah Remini. Remini entered the church at 9, donated millions by 30, and left at 43, then lit the exit door on fire. Her defection memoir, Troublemaker, and Emmy-winning doc-series mapped a pattern of harassment she now alleges in a 2024 civil lawsuit that has already cycled through 4 judges, thanks to Scientology challenges. The suit's discovery requests expose surveillance budgets and so-called squirrel busters who dogged her shoots. Remini's crusade isn't just revenge, it's a bid to force legal scrutiny the church has dodged for decades. In pivoting from sitcom laughter to courtroom affidavits, she recasts star power as a weapon, the only kind that can pierce a billion-dollar armor of religious privilege. Demi Moore. At the turn of the millennium, Moore's A-list reign collided with divorce and box office misfires. Enter the Kabbalah Center. Rabbis promised esoteric wisdom and a red string amulet said to deflect the evil eye. Moore dove in, funding Hebrew classes for her daughters, and bankrolling center-run addiction clinics. Critics decried the movement's $26 a bottle holy water as mystic snake oil, but Moore saw branding genius, a spiritual makeover that dovetailed with her physical transformation for G.I. Jane. The red bracelet became paparazzi shorthand for resilience, and every return to form, Charlie's Angels, Full Throttle, her post-divorce bikini photos, was spun as proof that mystical study rewires destiny. Andrew Keegan. The 10 Things I Hate About You heartthrob didn't join a cult. He founded one. In 2014, Keegan rented a disused Hare Krishna temple in Venice Beach and launched Full Circle, a spiritual sustainability center offering cacao ceremonies, moon rituals, and numerology workshops. Local press dubbed him a guru. State alcohol officers raided over unlicensed kombucha sales, and sociologists debated whether the loose doctrine even qualified as religion. Keegan now laughs off the cult leader tag, calling it a badge of honor, but concedes that the 3-year experiment cost more than his teen idol royalties. Still, he insists the venture-proved Hollywood can reverse its reputation for selfishness if its idols risk everything on collective enlightenment. Linda Evans. Dynasty's queen of shoulder pads sought answers in a different kingdom, Ramtha's School of Enlightenment, where channeler J.Z. Knight claims to summon a 35,000-year-old Lemurian warrior. Evans enrolled in 1988 after a near-fatal illness, lured by teachings that wrapped New Age healing around sci-fi grandeur. She relocated to rural Yelm, Washington, spending winters practicing field work, blindfolded obstacle courses meant to train extrasensory perception. While tabloids mocked her retreat from glitter to mud, Evans quietly credited the school for helping her survive a stalker's knife attack and Hollywood's brutal ageism. Decades on, she still appears at retreats, proof that some stars trade marquee lights for metaphysical spotlights that never switch off. Madonna. No single celebrity did more to globalize Kabbalah than Madonna. In 1996, she began late-night study sessions with center founder Philip Berg, emerging with a Hebrew name and a mission to lace pop anthems with mystic codes. Her donations bankrolled satellite centers from Sao Paulo to Sydney, and revenue at the Los Angeles headquarters ballooned from $20 million to $260 million. Detractors called it pay-per enlightenment. Madonna saw a feminist rewrite of patriarchal scripture. By 2023, her 40-year tour included red string tying ceremonies backstage, and when war erupted in Israel last October, she was among the first global voices praying for peace. Evidence that, for the material girl, metaphysics has become praxis. From war-chanting warrior spirits to billion-dollar auditing empires, each cult sold certainty in an industry built on rejection. Some actors escaped, some still believe, and some turned their scars into crusades. But every story warns that fame is fertile soil for faiths that demand more than a signature. Like all great scandals, this one hides in plain sight, waiting for the next desperate icon to sign on the dotted line.